Imagine waking up at like 3 in the morning.
Oh, the absolute worst time to wake up.
Right. Your apartment is just dead silent. The glow of the streetlights is sort of, creeping through the blinds. And then you hear it.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on your front door. So you drag yourself out of bed, your heart is just hammering, and you press your eye to the peephole.
Because you expect to see someone right there.
Exactly. You expect a face. But there is absolutely no one. Welcome to this deep dive, custom tailored just for you. Today, we are tearing into a highly concentrated narrative from a single, deeply unsettling source we have in our stack today.
Yeah, it's an excerpt titled The 3 O'Clock Visitor, and it is a remarkable piece of documentation. I mean, truly.
It really is. And the mission of our deep dive today is to basically reconstruct the precise timeline of this incident, right?
Yeah.
We're exploring the physical space, the psychological tension, and, well, a chilling revelation brought about by modern technology.
Right. It's about the fragile physical boundaries that we basically trust with our lives.
Yeah. So to set the stage for you listening, we have a college student. She's living entirely alone. And she is awakened in the dead of night by a visitor whose true actions are really only revealed by a security camera the next morning.
Which strips away that whole illusion of the modern fortress.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this from the very beginning. The text establishes that she wakes up to these 3 slow knocks at exactly 3 a.m.
Right on the dot.
Right. And when I read this, my mind immediately goes to the mechanics of the disturbance. Because living in an apartment alone, especially in college, it's like being on an island.
Oh, for sure. You're completely isolated.
Yeah, and your apartment door is the only shoreline. So why specify 3 slow knocks instead of, a frantic pounding? What does that deliberate pacing tell us about the person on the other side of that door?
Well, it's a great question because a heavily intoxicated person, like a neighbor banging on the wrong door, they lack motor control.
Right, they're fumbling.
Exactly. The acoustics of that kind of disturbance are chaotic. It's rapid, uneven thuds, maybe the sound of someone leaning against the frame or fumbling with keys.
Dropping things.
Yeah. But the text specifically highlights 3 slow knocks. That implies intent. It requires a metronome-like control.
A metronome, wow.
Think about it. The person has to lift their hand, strike the wood, absorb the silence, strike again, and then wait for the third.
That is deeply unsettling.
Wow. That physical control at exactly 3 a.m. when ambient building noise is at 0 and the streets are dead, it shifts the event from a mistake to a calculated probe.
Okay, but before we assume there's this master tactician out in the hallway, I want to throw a genuine curveball at this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because as someone who reads a lot about sleep science, my first instinct here is to question the student's reality.
Oh, like a hallucination.
Exactly. There's this well-documented biological phenomenon called hypnopompic hallucinations.
Right.
They are these vivid auditory hallucinations that occur exactly as a person is waking up.
Right.
Or another version is exploding head syndrome, where your brain literally fabricates the sound of a loud bang or a crash.
Yeah, it's wild how the brain does that.
It is. So considering the stress of college, being alone, and that specific 3 a.m. timestamp, isn't it highly probable that this student simply imagined the entire thing? Like, the brain misfired, she woke up terrified, and the hallway was actually empty the whole time.
I mean, that is a very rational defense mechanism to deploy. And honestly, it is likely exactly what the student tried to tell herself in the moment.
Just to calm down.
Yeah. The brain constantly seeks a non-threatening explanation for anomalous data. However, the text immediately destroys that comforting theory.
How so? With
the visitor's escalation. She approaches the door, looks through the peephole, sees nothing, and then the knocking returns. Louder this time.
Right.
An auditory hallucination like exploding head syndrome is a single, isolated neural misfire. It does not wait for you to walk to the door, observe the silence, and then strategically escalate its volume in direct response to your presence.
That makes total sense. So the second set of louder knocks basically proves there's an external reactive intelligence out there.
Exactly. The spatial impossibility of what happened the next is what forces the student into a state of active panic.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because the physics of that moment feel completely impossible to me.
The peephole paradox.
Yes. She looks through the peephole and sees an empty hallway, but someone is actively knocking on the wood just inches from her face. I mean, if someone is making physical contact with a door, they must be standing right in front of it.
You would think so, yeah.
It feels like she's playing a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek with a ghost. How does a physical human being knock on a solid surface but completely evade a peephole?
Well, what's fascinating here is that we have to look at the optical mechanics of standard apartment security hardware.
Okay, break that down for me.
So, a typical peephole uses a fisheye lens. The entire purpose of a fisheye lens is to compress a massive field of view, usually around 160 to 200 degrees, into a tiny ocular circle.
Right, so you can see down both ends of the hall.
Exactly. To achieve that, the glass uses extreme barrel distortion. It literally bends the light, bulging outward to catch the periphery of the hallway.
But there's a catch.
A huge catch. That optical curvature comes with a major structural flaw. It creates blind spots, specifically extreme geometric dead zones, directly beneath the hardware and tight against the immediate door frame.
Oh, wow. Which means the visitor isn't just standing off to the side like a normal person. They are intentionally hugging the blind spots of the door.
Precisely. They have an intimate understanding of optical physics. To remain invisible to a 200-degree lens while still reaching the center of the door to knock, they have to be actively exploiting that barrel distortion.
So they would need to be pressing their body entirely flat against the wall directly below the lens, or crouching at this agonizingly sharp angle, just reaching an arm up far enough to wrap their knuckles against the wood.
Yeah, knowing the lens curvature will literally bend the image right over their head.
That's terrifying.
And think about the psychological warfare of that escalation. The shift from slow knocks to louder this time indicates the visitor is demanding attention.
They want her to know they're there.
Exactly. They are actively reacting to the student's silence inside.